What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Trading World. Today is September 9th, 2025. It was a No News Tuesday, and we're going to be going over all kinds of trades you could take in the NASDAQ futures market to make real money. But first, guys, before I get into today's market recap, I want to talk about, in my opinion, possibly maybe the hardest part about trading, which is patience. I feel like all of us, if we were exposed to the perfect trade, we could press the button. We could do it. But the issue is, how often is that perfect trade going to show up, right? Most of us know what that trade looks like, but can we sit through all the bad trades? And guys, I know I talk about this a lot, but it's because it's really important because, so much of the time, you're going to be just constantly presented opportunities that are just mediocre after mediocre after mediocre. And guys, we just have to keep saying no to them. And it's so hard. And I'm not saying it's easy. I fall victim to it, right? We all fall victim to it. But the main key of trading is literally just stepping away. It's stepping away and honestly being at peace with yourself and where you're at in your life. And in no way is it easy, right? That's why they say it's so hard to be a trader and, do want to do it for the money or want to do it because you want to make money. Because if you're going into it for the money, you're going to be looking for the trades. The trades aren't going to be coming to you. And you're not going to have that patience that you need to be a trader. And, man, I always feel like I'm getting better with patience. But then I have a day like today where it's just like bad price action. And it's super choppy in the right after market open. And it just gets difficult. And in no way is it easy, guys. But we're going to keep going one day at a time. Also, I'm thinking about doing one of these market recaps like outside or something, or maybe on a walk. I think that'd be kind of cool. Let me know what you guys think about that. Anyway, let's jump into the market today. So, you're probably wondering, what are you talking about? What choppy price action? Well, it's right here, guys. It's right here. You can see we have market open. Or I guess it's right here. Right here, market open. Today was a No News Tuesday, so this is kind of what we were expecting, right? Since there's no news. But you can just tell here, this is not the kind of price action you want to be trading. And in no way is it easy. In no way is it easy to look at, to just do nothing. In no way is it easy. I'm not saying it's easy. But the sooner we can just train our brains over and over again, just remember, every trade I don't take that's a loss is essentially equivalent to taking a win. Every trade you don't take that's a loss, it's essentially equivalent to win. So all through here, this is lower probability. I mean, yeah, there's really not much in here that's going to, even on the lower time frame, this is just really, really choppy, bad price action. This is not, even on micro time frames, this is going to be very, very hard to take a trade. So you got to be very, very careful. Now, there was opportunity. There was. But it was limited. I would definitely say that it was limited today. It was very hard. The main opportunity for today, right, came actually right after 10 a.m. because what happened is you can see here that from 7:30, once again, guys, mark out 90-minute quarters. These are going to be, you want to see SMT between these 90-minute quarter highs, right? So here you can see there's 90 minutes, there's 90 minutes, there's 90 minutes. Zoom into the lower time frame on S&P. What do you get here? You can see we get a 90-minute S&T with this high. And this is a rejection block. And specifically, I would use the one on the 3-minute. Look at this one. Look at this 3-minute rejection block, right? 3-minute rejection block. Look at how perfectly we tap the midpoint of this, guys. This is the Phoenix model where we just look for S&T, a liquidity sweep, and then we enter at the rejection block. And once again, this is a super nice, high probability, obvious rejection block. This is one that's worth risking your money on. At least that's what I would say, right? We have a sweep, we have an S&T, 90-minute S&T, and so we can enter at the retest of the rejection block, and yeah, we can just target sell side. So here's the 90-minute S&T. So once again, if you guys don't know what the Phoenix model is, It's essentially you're looking for SMT. Specifically, this one was a higher probability SMT because it was a 90-minute SMT. And one thing I'm noting is these higher probability SMTs with the rejection blocks, they're going to be even higher probability Phoenix models, right? If you have a sequential SMT, meaning between two quarters, and you have a rejection block that sweeps liquidity, these rejection blocks are going to be super high probability. So you can see entering on the retest of this rejection block here, stop loss at the high of the rejection block. We just aggressively dump lower. And actually what's cool is it doesn't get more perfect than this, right? We measure out the rejection block. We go to 8th standard deviation and 4th standard deviation both perfectly. And then what happens later on, actually, this is even cooler, right? We come back to it later on, induce this high. So once again, we're pairing an old high with our entry point. And you can see that we perfectly tap consequent encroachment. Someone got their orders filled there, clearly. So 3-minute rejection block, consequent encroachment. And then finally go lower. Why would we target down here? Why does it make sense? Because there's just a giant range of low resistance liquidity here. So the tricky part about today, though, wasn't just that the price action was super choppy. It was also because at first it looked like this was high resistance. To me, this seemed like high resistance going into the morning. And so I thought, okay, we're obviously failing to go down lower. So since right now we're failing to go down lower, to me this seems like high resistance, and then we're just going to keep pushing higher the previous week's high. But the issue with that line of thought is just because something's high resistance right now, once again, high resistance meaning every time you try and go run a trend line, you fail to break it, versus low resistance when we go run that trend line, we run lower. And at the time, I thought we were going to keep going up to previous week's high. So here's an image of this here. But you know, this high, it's important to be observant and say, okay, is the market actually possibly going to cave in on itself? Is the high resistance liquidity going to become low resistance? And here you can see that's exactly what happened. We had way too much liquidity build up at the lows, and the market just couldn't. It was like the center of gravity collapsed in on itself, and these high resistance lows became low resistance. So I'm not saying it's easy by any means to catch this. I personally fell victim to it, but pay attention. These high resistance lows became low resistance, and just observe, like, when is the market ready to cave in on itself? Here you can just almost feel how off balance it is. Accumulation, just a giant accumulation range, manipulation of this high, and then distribution, right? And then eventually this became accumulation, manipulation of this low, and then distribution to previous week's high. So pay attention to all that. I want to talk about this. I know this was during London session, but once again, another Phoenix model. I just want to prove my point with these sequential SMTs with rejection blocks, guys. It's crazy. These are so powerful. Like, I'm realizing if you pair Phoenix model with time-based SMT, meaning SMT with previous day's high or previous day's low, SMT with previous week's high or previous week's low, SMT with London high, London low, or Asia high, Asia low, SMT with previous 90-minute high, 90-minute low, right? These SMTs with Phoenix models, they're going to be even better. You can see how, look at this. Perfect. We tap the 15-minute rejection block, and we have all these low resistance lows. Look at the precision in these markets, guys. Basically, this is how you top tick. This is how you end up like Powell Trades. Powell Trades takes these kinds of trades. That's how he top ticks. He basically gets in as the SMT's forming using the rejection block. This is Phoenix model. And then, wow. So just something to look out for in the charts. Use it as a confluence, whatever, right? But I just think it's so fascinating. But as far as the day actually goes, once again, guys, very, very tricky day. And especially after the market opens, you can see there's not much to commentate on here. This is just super wicky in both directions. Eventually, we come up, induce this high. FA was saying that there was actually, at that high, that 10-12 high, there was actually, let's see if I can find it. Anyway, right here.
Jacob.
I'm coming in just a second. You can see, so FA was saying that there was actually a whale that entered with a ton of orders above this high. So I honestly think we should start looking at the order book, at least somewhat. I don't really know how to, but I think it's an interesting idea because you can see if you can use that as a confluence to have this be an inducement, it can be really nice. But look how perfect this is, by the way, right? 90-minute S&T, 3-minute rejection block. We push up into it once, then we induce the high into it. FA said we had a whale. Once again, if you guys don't know who FA is, he's one of the greatest traders I know, and he's in our Discord, right? He's made hundreds of thousands of dollars trading, and he's literally just in the Discord hanging out with us. So pretty grateful that he's there with us. But yeah, apparently there was a whale that entered here. Kind of cool. And then let's see here. Oh, another thing to note, right? Another thing to note about these rejection blocks is notice how when it's at the high of our dealing range here, these rejection blocks, when they sweep liquidity into the high of the dealing range, that's another confluence. That's another confluence to determine, okay, this 3-minute rejection block, it's going to be higher probability because it's at the high of our dealing range. Just another observation that I had today. But as far as the rest of the day goes, the only other things I noticed were we essentially had a 2022 model when we finally swept out all those low resistance lows. We got a liquidity sweep, break of structure, fair value gap. This happened at like 1050. And then once again, if you enter as an inducement of this low, even higher probability entry. And if I go back over to that on the chart, here's where it happened, right? Once again, why does this make sense in the context of what happened today? Well, we had all these lows ran. So at this point, now we could possibly expect a new market maker buy model to form. So all those low resistance lows got ran, at which point we had stacked SMTs. We had a SMT with YM here, and then an SMT with YM here. We got liquidity sweep right there. Break of structure with displacement. And I guess it was on the 30-second chart, but still, it's still valid, right? 30-second chart. We come back to this fair value gap at equilibrium. And then you can see we expand off of it. And actually, this entry, even though we do end up retracing, this entry does end up taking us back to these highs, right? So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Another observation that I noticed. But yeah, in general, guys, very tough day, especially if you were trying to trade this 930 price action. Once again, patience is key, guys. We got to be able to see this, be able to do nothing. And then even during pre-market, nothing really super obvious in here either. This is all just chop. And I kind of was thinking during pre-market, I kind of like this 5-minute change in state. But once again, guys, the market's going to really try really hard to deceive you. And this, it seems like it's nice, but it's in the pre-market. It's just not, I don't know. I thought this was okay, but this failed. And so once again, guys, we have to be super patient. And if it's not extremely obvious, especially because look at how much liquidity is below us, right? This entire range is below us. We got to be thoughtful of that. But yeah, the point is, right, what happened today, zooming out, looking at the day as a whole, is we slowly chopped up. All this was high resistance. Then it became low resistance. Then we ended up forming a buy model. at the end of the day to go back up to the high, and we take our target, which was previous week's high. So very, very cool. Let's see if there's anything else I want to talk about. One way you could have entered off of that rejection block, let's say that rejection block was a little risky, right? Objectively, that rejection block's a little risky, so you could take this as a 3-minute inversion off of it, and I think this was pretty decent. And once again, the reason being is we have those low resistance lows below. But once again, guys, today was a tough day, and I didn't think there was a lot of opportunity. And usually, even on days today, usually I still see a lot of opportunity, but I'm not going to lie, today was tough. Today was really, really tough. And so, yeah, nasty PA, very, very tough. But yeah, hopefully, I think that about covers it. Once again, previous week's high hit here. So, yeah, I think that about covers it. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed today's market recap, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.